Okay, we are going to learn in this video how to do a .NET MVC application with authorization, individual authorization. So we're going to use a template that will basically create all of the application for us, including the authorization. So ChatGPT is a very good way of finding answers. So what I did here is just ask it to give me the console command line for MVC or individual, and that's what it gave me. So I'm going to use this. I have a little folder here, clear here, that I use. It's going to go away. Let's go learn. Okay. So I'm going to make a folder in here called car hire like I did before, and cd car hire. And first thing I'm going to do is just drop in .new.NET in. If you don't have .NET, I don't even think of this. If you don't have .NET, just run that, Google that, and just install the latest .NET, which is .NET 7. Onto your PC or Mac. Okay. So one thing I want to do just here quickly is if I do a .NET new, I will get this link here, and this link will give me all the options that I can use. So I am going to just add in here an output name. So in here, I'm just going to say -n car hire, and this will then create my project like that, as well as the namespaces. Okay, so once you've installed, you need to install Visual Studio Code as well. Visual Studio Code, you can use Visual Studio, the big bloated one. I don't use it because it's just too big, and I prefer to try and use as much CLI commands as possible, because I think the rest of the world, developers don't use an IDE like Visual Studio where you can use wizards to create stuff for you. This for me is an easier way to get used to how everyone else does it. So if you change a different stack, like the MERN or mean stack or Node or whatever you want to use, then you'll see most of the guys are using Visual Studio Code, and they use the CLI to create most of their stuff. Okay, so it will make it easier for you to just go ahead in the future. Okay, once you install this, you would be able to run this command, .NET that I just ran, .NET new. You'll be able to run that in any case because you installed .NET. But the next thing you'll be able to run is code dot. Okay, if it doesn't know what that is, then make sure you install Visual Studio Code and reboot your machine. Okay, so what it's going to do is open that folder that we just created through the template, and it will show the contents of that. Okay. This little box that pops up here, if it doesn't come up, just wait for it. If it doesn't come up at all, just close and reopen it. It's quite important that you get the C# extension installed. Okay. If it's not there, then you can go over here and you can look for C#, and you'll be able to install the Microsoft extension for that. It's a basic language support. Okay. Very important, otherwise you'll not be able to run this. So I'm going to show you that this template already created a lot of stuff for us, did a lot of the groundwork, including that it uses Bootstrap. And you'll see now when I run it that it's already working application. The first thing I just need you to do is, if you go to program.cs, here on line 13, just make that false, because if you don't make it false, you're going to have to integrate an email sender first, because you'll have to first confirm the email account before you will be able to register, and we're not going to do that now. Okay, so once you've done that, you can go to run start or function or control F5, but yeah, so you'll see that when we run this, there's a very neat application with the Bootstrap theme already loaded there. I can go in here and register, let's say learn@tribute.com, and it will log you in already. Okay, so, and it's quite nice because there's like basic stuff in here. We can add your phone number. So your users will be able to add their phone numbers, which you can access, email addresses, they can change their passwords, they can do two-factor authentication, and they also have a data security POPI type thing that you can use for your users to download or delete the data. So they help you a little bit with the things that's required for any web application. You can add your privacy policy. So for instance, just to show you guys why I like ChatGPT so much, is generate me a software as a service privacy policy. And yeah, it will write you out. And you can, when it's done, literally just copy and paste it in your, I'll show you now where, and then you have your privacy policy already done as well. Okay. So I'm going to log out there. Okay, so I'm going to stop that. I'm going to show you quickly. So we have a view. So MVC is a pattern. So it's a model view controller. So the view is pretty much your HTML, your view, which they see. Your model will be your data model that exists in the database. And your controller will control your middleware between your view and everything else. So it will be like indexes, what happens when you reference the index, what happens when you do a post or you put information into the database, all those kind of stuff. So you'll see, for instance, here's the privacy, and that is, so if I now go to what ChatGPT sort of created here, I can literally just copy that, dump it in there, and it'll be done. So I'm going to quickly show you as well something here. You have this little terminal in your IDE, which is very useful because you can type in CLI commands right here. So one of the things that I like to do and it's new in .NET 7, is to type in your .NET watch run. And what it will do is it will create a hot swappable runtime for you. So whenever you make a change, I'm going to show you, instead of stopping and rerunning again, which takes time because it recompiles everything, it sort of does a hot swap. So let's say supercar hire, whatever, and let's just take that out. Then you'll see this immediately changes for you, and you'll also see that your privacy policy now has that stuff in there. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I would use this very much for when you want to start styling your application. It's very useful if you have two monitors, so you can run this while you type, you'll see immediately how it changes or change specific style sheets and stuff. Okay, so I'm going to quickly explain the programs. So programs I'm not going to explain entirely, but what I need to show you here is the connection string. So this connection string by default, you use the app settings default connection in there. So if you want to go ahead and use app settings and you want to use a cloud database like Azure or AWS, then this is where you'll change it. I would highly not suggest that you use app settings, because if you commit this source code to Git, then all your sensitive information is in there. So it's just not a good practice. What you want to do instead is just use environment variables, get environment variable, and something like a DB connection. If you don't know how to add an environment variable on your computer, just ask ChatGPT, and we'll show you how to do it. And that way it's safe. So you can add it here, and then you'll find with all like Elastic Beanstalk and AWS, all of those things do require you to use environment variables for whatever settings you want to set in there. Okay. Then down here, you can see that we have a builder services. So builder services use a thing called dependency injection, which I'll talk about a little bit later now, but it will add the database into the services so that you can inject it, and it uses SQL Lite. You can here change it to also use stuff like Postgres, which is what I use, instead of SQL Server. And then down here is the creation of the identity user, which will be so that you are able to log in, register, etc. Okay. Yeah, the rest you don't really need to be concerned about. The only other thing that you need to know is this is your controller, your route mapping. And what it basically says is whenever you, let me run this application again quickly. Whenever you type in home, then that's the controller, and index is the action. So you'll see that actually accepts that. So so it's home action ID. If I go to my home controller and I have a look, it's home. It excludes the controller part, so it's always the first part before the home that it looks at, and that's why in your view, the home here must match your controller always. Otherwise, it will tell you it can't find it. Okay, so home, your controller is very tightly coupled with your view folder. Okay, and in there is your action, the same as what happens here. So there's the index method here, along with the index there. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. But this is pretty critical that you understand that, otherwise you're going to struggle. The idea at the end, let me just show you. If I go in here and I say GUID ID, I'm going to quickly stop that. Yeah, it's going to moan at me. Then if I put a breakpoint here and I run again, start debugging, I must maybe not do a GUID. Okay, it's fine. So use the GUIDs. That is going to be a blank GUID now. Okay, it's fine. But the idea is I'm going to have to quickly get a GUID generator. Just generate the GUID. Okay. What is a GUID? If you don't know, it is an extremely unique string. It's almost, not entirely, but it's almost impossible to have two GUIDs that's the same. So if I do that at the end, so now we have controller, action, ID, enter. Then you'll have a GUID in there. This can also be string. So then you can put in, let me just show you here. I can then go home, index, and come on, and did it stop? Yeah, and the ID will then. The ID is now null. Oh, really? That's strange. Okay, don't understand why it is empty. That is weird. Okay, something weird happened here. Let me just quickly check. Yeah, okay, I don't know. It was stuck on the first, before we typed in Anton, then it stopped there and I didn't let it run again. So, okay, there it is. Okay, cool. Okay, so that's just to explain mostly the programs here. Did I now? Yeah, I did show you that. Okay, and then the rest you don't really need to be concerned about right now. There's stuff in here that you can still learn and add, but not important. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to add models, and we are going to try and scaffold them. Okay, so let's start. So my nephew got a project that he needs to do that use a rental thing. So there's a car make and a car body type. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new model in here, and I'm going to say body type model.cs. Always good to do a namespace for all your files, and we're going to call this models. Okay, public class, and it's going to be body type model. Then you always need to give it a key. So public GUID, and then again you use your model name, your model without the model, and you do an ID at the end. Okay, it's important to use this pattern because when you generate it, when you have .NET generate certain things for you, like in Entity Framework, it uses like the ID to know that it is an identity column. So I'm going to decorate this with the word keyword key. Yeah, keyword key. Okay, which means this is going to be a primary key. Okay, and then in here I'm just going to say string body type. I'm just going to call it name. Get set. Okay, so in .NET we have these data annotations, so we can tell us that this is a required field, so you have to enter it. We can also say in here that the string length can't be longer than 50, and in here we can also say display. You can do display. I'll show you now how all these things work together, but let's say body type. Okay, it's going to be easier. Now there's a little squiggly line here. Please try and always remove squiggly lines. They are there for a reason. So it's just to tell us that that it can contain a null value. So it's best to at the end just do something like that when you have a required field. If you don't, then you can tell it, listen, you can be nullable. And you put this question mark after your type, which means it's nullable. Okay, and you'll get used to this. This is just stock standard stuff. Okay, so we have a body type. Then next, what we're going to do is add a, I guess like a car make. Let's say car make model. Let's see this. Okay, namespace car hire dot models. Come on. Okay. Public class car make model, which is I know it's car make and model, but we're just using car make model. So I'm gonna add in a GUID again here. I'm gonna call it car make ID. Oops, ID get set. And then I'm gonna add in here a foreign key to body type. So body type ID get set. And I am going to then in here put a string for make get set and public string model get set. So you can, if you really want to, have the make also be a foreign table, but because there's only, let's say, 50 different makes in the world, I don't think it's not going to change easily. So well, it can change, but I think I think it's easier ways of doing it. Your choice though. Okay, I'm gonna make both of them required. Okay, so what I'm gonna do here is again say required, and we have to add in the annotation. Sometimes this little thing that helps you don't want to go, then you just might need to type it in manually. Okay, and then in here we're going to say required, going to say string length of 50, I don't know. I'm going to leave make, I'm not going to add another display name in there because make is fine. It will use this unless you tell it and you don't know what this is. I'll show you what this is now. Okay, and then model 50 as well. Let's just do that. Okay, so we then have a car make. So car make model, which I think is completely fine. Okay, cool. Okay, then what we need next is the car. So in the car, we're going to then add a model that says car model CS, and you'll see these things become very repetitive. Oops, come on. Public class car model. Oops, there's something I didn't do there. I'll do it now. Public good car, man. Car ID get set. Now we want to add in here the body type ID. Get set. Goodness, it keeps doing that. It's so frustrating. Body. And public good car make ID. So I've added in the body type in both places, and the reason for that is just that in the car make you might want to search on for a body type on a specific make and model, but in a car you also would like to do that. Okay, and then I'll add in here public, I think it was a string car number, and it will be required as well. Then we have model body type, then we have kilometers and service kilometers. Okay, so public int kilometers. I think I'm gonna make it odometer, which is better terminology. Get set. And then what is that? Service kilometers. I guess it's service intervals. Okay, public int service intervals. Okay, I think that's it. And available. Okay, is available, of course. Public will set. Okay, cool. So we need to, I think I forgot to do it here as well. Yeah, okay, so you need to add a foreign key to this. So how you do that is you say public virtual, and then you type in body type model and body type get set. It needs to be nullable, otherwise you'll get a squiggy. And then on top here, you will add the attribute foreign key. And it won't find it immediately. Oops, no, foreign key. Yeah, which is in that namespace. And then in here, you will type in your primary key. Okay, so that is body type ID. Okay, so just make sure that you add your things in here, otherwise it will complain eventually when we use Entity Framework. Key is there, good. key is there, and we say body type ID is links to the body type table. And then in a car model, we're going to have a few. So firstly, let's just say key up here. Okay. And we can quickly come in here and just say this is required. This is required. This is required. I like to make spaces there. You can actually add, I haven't done it, but you can add some extensions here. Just Google how to format your code for you. Okay, string, let's just put a string length in here. String length 50, car number 20, 15, I don't know. Doesn't need to be that big. What did they say? Yeah, they might have told how many it needs to be. It looks very much like 6. Okay, let's just do 6. Okay, 6. Yeah. Okay. Then in odometer, you can also make it required. You can also add another attribute here called range. You can say 0 to a maximum of 1,000,000. So let's say 3. Is that 1,000,000? Okay, that's 1,000,000. Okay. Excuse me. You can do the same for service intervals. Well, you can actually make this less because this will probably be no more than 20,000 if that is in fact the service intervals. 15,000, yeah, that looks like what it is. Okay, and then that you don't need to. You can default certain things as well, so you can say false, for instance. That would be the default for that. Okay, and then lastly, what we need to do here is a public virtual body type model, body type, get set, make this that, add the foreign, okay, it doesn't have it, key, let your little light bulb help you, and this is body type ID, okay, and then because I'm a little bit lazy, something if you don't know it, there's a lot of really cool shortcuts in Visual Studio Code. If you do Shift Option, which might be, I don't know, something else on Windows, maybe Shift Alt, and you hold it in and you press down button, it will just do copies for you. It can do all kinds of cool stuff, like for instance, if you want to select all the body types, you can do a Shift Command or probably Shift Alt or something, L, and it will select all the body types, and you can actually change it on the fly. And yeah, so there's a couple of cool things that you can play with. Anyway, okay, then car make is what we want. Car make, right? Car make model, car make, and this will be car make ID. Okay, so we don't need a third one. Shift Command K to delete the line, by the way. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it. That's all we want to do for models wise. So we have a car model with a key. It has 2 foreign key references to body type and car make. Okay, which is here. They have this car make got a foreign key to body type, and body type is standing all alone on its own. And yeah, now for the interesting part. Okay, done this in a while, but I'm going to rely on ChatGPT to help me a little bit here. So what you can do, excuse me, is to ask ChatGPT how to generate views and controllers using the C# CLI command for ASP.NET MVC. And what it will do is it will give you this string here. Okay. I'm going to copy this and I am going to paste it in. Okay. So what this requires from us is that we give it the DB context first. DB context is under data, so it is application DB context. It requires a model name. That let's start with the body type model. Excuse me. And then we also need a controller name. So remember, we have body type. So that's going to be body type controller. And then we will get errors now, but I wanted to give you errors so that I can show you how to solve it. Okay, so let's run it. Okay, so the first thing that it tells you that you need to add this package. So there's a website called Nougat, or yeah, I don't know what you call it. A package library is probably the right word for .NET. So there are millions of packages that you can use to pull into your application. So one of them is written by Microsoft. So how you add a package is on your terminal or your command line, you type in .NET add package, and then you copy and paste that package name there, design, and enter. And it will install it. So there are other tools, like for instance, say you want to send mails using SendGrid, then you can come in here and you can look for SendGrid. And they will SendGrid's thing be, and you can basically just copy that line and paste it in, and it will add the library for you in order to use SendGrid to send emails. So like I said, there's quite a lot of stuff that you can do. So we now, if you go to your project file, you'll see that we have this specific library added as well. Okay, so next up, we're going to try running again. We're going to get another error. Okay, so it now tells us that it can't find SQL Server. So unfortunately, you have to add the SQL Server package as well. Even though you use SQL Lite, or like in my case, I use Postgres, it needs this package in order to create or to scaffold. So .NET add package, SQL Server. Also remember that if you want to now deploy this on Azure, then you'll in any case need to remove SQL Lite. And just remember, if you maybe get stuck with that, is you'll have to change this specific thing to use SQL Server and not SQL Lite. Okay, but we're gonna keep using SQL Lite because we just have a local database there that we want to use. Okay, so we have that. Let's see what else do we need. So we're gonna run it again. And the next error that we're getting is it wants this design package as well. So .NET add package. And then I think it'll be fine. Yeah. So you'll see that it goes, it tells you here that it creates the controller and all the views. So this is not a perfect exact science, but it's a very easy way to quickly scaffold all the stuff for you. And we'll go through it now. I just want to make sure that in views, we then have a body type with the CRUD, create, delete, details, edit, and index. So if we run this, let me just see if it will work. if I go to sorry, a bit lost, too many files. Shared. So in shared is your layout. Your layout is a page that gets run all the time. It runs for all your views. So in here we want to add we just want to maybe take out the privacy here. So what I'm going to do this is the menu. Excuse me, I need to explain what I'm doing. This is the nav bar, the menu. So in here, what I want to do is I just want to go and say controller body type, and the action is going to be index, and we're going to say body types. Okay, and then we're going to run it. Body types. Okay, so this is good. So the next thing that you need to do is you need to now add the migration for the models that you created. So if you go to application DB context, you'll see that it added for you the body type model. Okay, but there's nothing yet that tells it how to script it into the database. So how you do that is you go .NET EF migrations, add body type, or whatever you are busy with. So it's just a name. Okay. Okay. Then you'll see that there will be a migrations folder that gets created under data, body type. And here, what it does, it creates an entity framework code of how to create a table. So what you can do next is, if you go .NET EF migration script, and you output it, for instance, to init.sql, it's going to create a SQL file down here, and you can see exactly everything will be created in here for you. So you can technically run this on your database somewhere else. So a body type model gets created here. Okay. But how we're going to do it now just for our local database is we're going to say .NET EF database update. And then that script will automatically be applied onto the database. So if we run the application again, and go to body types, we should be able to see it. So it's not very pretty, and yeah, can maybe at the end show you how to make it look a little bit better, but you basically then have all your types here. You can say create new, body type will be hatchback, and the hatchback will be there. You can edit it, hatchback. No, actually I want it to be a SUV, whatever. You can look at the details. These things are kind of stupid, but and then you can delete it as well. Okay, so yeah, I don't know if I should spend the time. I'll quickly spend the time to make it look a bit better, but excuse me. Okay, but let's create the others quickly. So the next one we want to create, I'm gonna stop there quickly, is terminal. Okay. So the next one we're going to create is going to be, let's quickly have a look. Where are we? Models, car make model. Okay. Is it car make? Yeah, car make controller and car make model. Gonna run it. And it's gonna scaffold that for us. And the last one is car. Car model and car controller. Okay. Okay, great. So for each of those, you'll see that there's now a folder that correlates to the controller. So for car, there's a car. For car make, there's a car make controller. And if we go into the car make or into any of the controllers, you'll see that the pattern is the same. There will always be an index for the main landing. There's details, which I normally don't use, but if you want to keep that, you can keep it. A create, to create a specific, to add it to the database. And then there's an edit and there's a delete. So the controller, and you'll see each of these actions will have matching views as well. So it's orange there, so there's a reason for that. Let's just see why it's complaining. So body type can be null, which can happen. If you don't want the orange there, then you can put a question mark behind it. No, that's not going to work. You're going to have to do an exclamation mark, which means that if it's null, it will throw an exception, which is not good. But just to make the orange go away, which I really don't like, just put an exclamation mark behind it. So you basically tell it that you just want to override it. Okay, the same here, it'll be to body type and car make. Okay, I probably need to explain more of this, but let me just run through. Okay, so what we can do, just again back to share it into our layout. So we have body types. Let's add another one here, and we call this the car make, also index. And okay, make, and then lastly cars. That should be car. Remember that just a single word before the controller, and index. Okay, and if we run it again, okay, so we have a body type here, which we don't. Let's say SUV create. Oops, up. No, SUV. So we can go back to our little thing. What do they all want? Here, they want hatchback, sedan, coupe, SUV. Okay, so hatchback, sedan, coupe. I guess. Yeah. Okay. Back to list. Okay, then if we go to make, of course, again, you'll get this error every time when you forgot to create a migration. So, Kenya.net ef migrations add car make. It's going to add a second migration file in here for you. You'll see that there'll be another one. Car make with car make model as well. So you'll see it knows what the primary keys, foreign keys, all those things is already done for you. Okay, and then we just say .NET ef database update. Okay, great. It's all created. So let's run it again. Okay, so back to make. So we can now create. Now what's great about it, I don't know if you've seen it, but it automatically just created a lookup for you as well, because you had in car make, if you remember in the model, you had the foreign key. So it has the intelligence to know to create that for you, and I'll show you how it's done. So SUV, if I can use the data here. Okay, don't know. Let's do BMW X5. Okay, create. And we have a Toyota Fortuner. Okay, and you can obviously create a sedan, which could be, I don't know, VW Jetta. Okay, so have a look here. Look at this body type. It's body type which doesn't really look nice. Okay, and this is where your data annotations come into play. So up here, it's referencing the body type. So if we go and we say display name equals equals body type, I guess. Okay, so I'll now, because it's more design work, I'm just gonna put the hot swap on the .NET Watch run. Okay, so if I go to body types, we have that body type, then make. So make is still body type. Now let me show you why, or how you can figure out where that is. So in the car make index up here, you'll see that it use HTML display for the model.body type. Now it is car make model. It seems like I'm not getting this right. Car make model that says body type. Sorry, I'm getting confused here now. Make model body type. Oh, okay. Yeah, so what you can do is you can actually just say body type ID here, because it's just going to use the name. I think that should work. Yeah, okay. If you, so this model body type references this foreign key here. So you can probably add a display here. I think it should be fine. And then move the index back to just body type, and it should also still work. Yeah. So it's just what field does it reference on the model to get the name. So like that. So now we have body type. If we edit it, you'll see body type looks nice. The spacing and stuff here is completely off and it looks terrible. But we can clean up the design now. Okay, so we have our body types, we have makes, now we're going to add cars. Okay, so let's quickly have a look. Car, everything here is wrong. So I don't think I put in any display names. No, I didn't. Great. Let's start with car number. So we can do a display name equals, I'm just going to say car hash, and you can immediately say it'll be car hash. Odometer is fine. Service intervals, just going to copy that. Okay. And what is it going to reference? It will reference the foreign key. So this will be body type. This will be make. Okay, so it'll is available, make body type is available, so is available. Question mark, something like that, and it'll be available question mark. So car, I would put make after car, then body type, and then the rest, like this was. Okay, so car number, car make. So how you do that is very, very easy. We go back to the index for car, then we just need to swap them around a bit. So let's put car make after car. Let's put the body type, I guess. Yeah, that's one thing we're missing there. It's fine. Car make body type. So we actually have here car make and then model. So car make. You can also do this, and I'm just gonna cheat now, make and model. Okay. Car make model body type odometer service is available. Then what you need to do here is say make, and then we're gonna have a car make model. We're gonna put in the body type name after that. Odometer service is available. That looks better. Okay. And let's quickly have a look. So make model body type odometer service, blah blah blah. So we create index. So our lookups is there: SUV, BMW. Yeah. So it will probably make more sense not to have a body type in there. Just because there is already one here, so the data will be a bit confused. Okay, all these things you can rearrange. So if I go in here, let's say BMW 001, whatever, it's 2000, intervals 15,000 is available, and we create it. Okay, so there's a couple of things here that I would do different. I don't know if I would put in a body type. I don't think that's the right way of doing it. I'd rather just have the model, the make model. Let me go to the model here. So on car, don't think I'll do the body type in here as well. I'll just reference car make and let the body type sit on its own, or be linked to the car make model. One needs to be careful or look out for third normalized form, so we are almost on the edge there. So yeah, okay, if we do edit here, so those things are not looking right. So if I go to car create, so the body type ID on car model, sorry, so let's just fix that body type. And then this will be make. Okay. Body type make, car, odometer, service intervals is available, back to list. Okay, but that's pretty much it. So it was fairly easy to have everything be created for you. It is not the best. It's not great. But with a little bit of work, you can make it look better. So I'm going to do a little bit of that just to show you. Don't want to spend too much time on this now. So first thing first is if you go into www.root and you go to let's first go to your layout. Your layout will reference all the style sheets of your application, and at the bottom it will have all the it will have all the JavaScripts. Okay, it's always good to have style sheets first, but most of your stuff should rather just load at the bottom for speed. Car hire company. this is what comes up here at the bottom, car hire company. Okay. Okay. So this specific template, I'm pretty sure, is making use of Bootstrap 4, and I would suggest you rather use Bootstrap 5. So Bootstrap, if you don't know, is a very that's not gonna work. Is a very popular Bootstrap is a very popular library, CSS library. It's used everywhere. So when Microsoft creates those templates, they use an older version. I think it's 4, but 5 has changed quite a bit. So what I'm going to just do, just to show you, is how to get that installed. Okay, they also have dark mode, which is really cool. Okay, sorry, I can't even think how you do this. Wow. Let's just get Bootstrap 5.1. Okay, sorry, I just couldn't remember how you do that. Okay, so here it will show you how to use a CDN. So I'm just going to use a CDN, and I'm going to copy it and paste it over my local stuff. So I'm going to, let me see, Bootstrap jQuery. I'm actually going to delete the whole lib. Bye-bye lib. Okay. And I'm just going to replace it with CDN stuff. Okay, so that's one. Then we also need I'll quickly see, start a template. Yeah, the problem here is we need bundle. Let's quickly see if we put in a bundle if it'll work, but I think you might need jQuery. Don't know if that's gonna work. Let's see, we might have broken it. Still looks like it's working, sort of. Okay, yeah, I think it's still fine. Okay, great. So we've now just included the latest Bootstrap CSS, and then also I think this bundle includes jQuery, which is really great. So then you don't have to have jQuery separate. Okay, so we can also just change car hire company, which is the title for all your pages. So like that, so car hire company homepage. That car hire there will be, I think, yep, car hire. Okay, you can also add logos and stuff in here if you like, make it look better. Okay, cool. Okay, so let's see if we can make something look better. Let's go to cars. So if we go to cars and we click on car index, then let's just say cars for hire, I guess. Create new. So cars for hire, create new looks awful. So here, unfortunately, you're gonna have to know how to do a little bit of CSS. And if you don't know, it's something you can definitely learn in time. Okay, I'm just going to use something called, I actually want to show you this. So Visual Studio Code also have the ability to have this shorthand stuff. So you can say div.deflex, which is a CSS, and you can then continue saying justify content between. You press enter, it will create you a div with the classes already in there. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then maybe have a look at a CSS course to understand what that means. Okay, so if we have a look now, you'll see that, for instance, create new will be over here, which looks already a bit better in my opinion. And then we're going to use a bootstrap thing. So you're going to say class btn primary, and you'll see it look a little bit better. Okay, it's now big, and again you need to know how to do or know about it, but align item start will make that go away, so it'll make it nice. Okay, the grid looks terrible. Yeah, okay, I'll quickly show you this as well. If you go to Bootstrap icons, very cool little library, you can, again, I need to now find the stuff for it, and it's so hard. We don't use npm because npm is the node package manager, which is way nicer than .NET. But anyway, let's just say CSS CDN for Bootstrap icons. One of these should work. Okay, I think this might be it. Okay. Oh, I don't like that. Sorry, guys, wasting your time here. Man, I really wish I just put a little thing here to show you the alternative ways of getting it, and that you don't have to do npm. Yeah, and there's just no quick way of finding it. Let's quickly see. It's also not there. Okay, terrible. Okay, it's fine. Let me just go in here and make it work. Okay, so I'm gonna copy that, and then in my layout, which is for all my pages, if you remember that, I'm gonna put in here a link, href with that, and it is a style sheet. Close that down, because you won't see any change now. But why I want to do that is, I'm just going to close everything again, is in my car on the index. So down here we have these links, right? So I would just like to try and use a nice icon. So BI is how you do this icon. This work guide bi. I think it's a plus circle. Will that work? Yeah. Let's quickly see if that. Yeah, so it'll add a little circle there, which is a little nicer. But you can also class equals btn primary and btn small. Yeah, so it looks even better. Okay, and then for details you can do I dot bi dot, now I don't really know. Let's go to the icons and we just quickly look for something like detail. No, that's a ticket. I don't know, page. Let's just use one of these things. Let's just use a file. So bi file, and we also just add this class in there, and then I know where this one is. This I.bi. Do I? X circle. Okay, excuse me. I.bi. bi circle. That's fine. I think. Speak Afrikaans every now and then. Yeah, that worked. Okay, great. So it looks a little bit better. I would, for instance, take out these ridiculous pipes. And let's see what it looks like now. Yeah, that looks way better. So at least now you can also put in the keyword here, placeholder. Holder equals add. Then when you hover over it, it'll show you, if you're lucky, I'll placeholder Anton, title. Is it title? Add, okay. If you put that in. Okay, but that's basically how to make things look a little bit better. There's still obviously tons of stuff that you can do. If you, for instance, now go to this page, it just looks awful. Let's just quickly try to fix up the edit page as well, and then we can be done. So you can do exactly the same here. Do a div.dflex, which is a flexbox CSS thing. And then you say justify content center, and while we add it, just do line items start. Okay, and you can drop the edit in there. You can delete that awful, you can just say edit car. Now what happened to the save? Oh, the save is down here. Okay, I'll actually take it out there. I like to have it at the top. You can delete that awful horizontal line, and then we can just, yeah, okay, let's see what that looks like. Oh, goodness. Justify content center, justify content between, sorry, that's what that needs to be. Okay, yeah, and then that looks edit car and the save button there. And then these things are all on top of each other. I think you can put in a gap to, no, gap didn't work. Okay, but what you can do, I just want to see gap 2, does it work here? No, it doesn't, okay. Gap is part of flex, but that didn't work. So what you can do, but again, you just need to know Bootstrap, is to say margin bottom 2. Let me show you how cool this is. If you highlight form group, and you go and you do a Command D, which on a PC would be something else, Control D maybe, then you can highlight them and paste, and they'll all be in there. Okay, then at least spacing is a little bit better. Back to list. So what I like to do with back to list, let's take that out, is I'll add it. I'll put it in another div, and I'll put it there, and I'll put h1 there, and I'll make this icon be i.bi arrow left circle, maybe, if you're lucky. I'll see now. And we can also then just say class equals button primary. Let's see if that works. Didn't work. It's still building, so it's slow. Okay, yeah, it'll do that. So all you do is you just add another class dflex in there. Should be fine. Okay, line items start. You'll see it's on top of each other, so You just say gap 2, space a little bit. It's not aligned lacquer, so what you can just do here is say just defy contents. I'm not sure it's going to work. Center. No, let's just say yes, center. That work? Yeah, okay. It's not perfect, but it's okay. So now you have you can just give more space here. So I'll say margin top 3, more 4. So there's a little bit of space between that and that. Yeah, it's basic stuff. You can play for hours with trying to make stuff look pretty. But that's basically then that. Okay, so application works. I want to quickly show you one last thing. So if you remember that I had to start a new project because I made a mistake. But if we register user again, then we have it logged in, right? Okay, so we can log in with that user. Why was it? Not Anton. Learn com and password. Okay, so we logged in. So say for instance you want to have the system not be accessible by anyone except registered users. So how you would do that is on the home controller up here, you're going to say attribute authorize, and you're going to add the Microsoft authorization. So when you now try to, if we log out, it's going to take you to the login page. So it won't allow you to see no matter where. Okay, so that's very good. We do this. You need to then authorize, make sure that everything has the attribute authorized on top of it. If you don't want anyone to see that. So I'm not going to show you that right now, but the right way of doing this, for instance, oh goodness, now why don't you want to go and get that? What? No, I'm on the namespace. So I'm not even used to that. They created the old way of doing namespaces here. The namespaces, you can do namespaces in brackets, but these days we don't do it anymore. We just put it in a single line. That's why I was confused there. So if you want to clean up your code, do that. Make sure your namespaces are properly at the top or not in brackets. What you can do, what you should do, if you have like a master type thing that only administrators should do, then you need to actually add the role admin. But to do that, you need to create an interface to add users, which I'm not going to do now. Admin car, authorize car make, of course. Car make. So I quickly want to just explain what I mean by the namespace thing. So it might not be clear. Just put it there. Take it out of these brackets. It's just a cleaner way of doing it. I don't like the namespace. It's just add an extra indentation, which gets crazy. Okay, authorize home controller, car make, body controller, good stuff. Okay. So now if we click on make cars is still, that's interesting, car. That doesn't make sense. So car should not be, let's just, sometimes this hot swap thing doesn't work like it should. let's just run it properly, because that should not show. Cause, okay, yeah, make body types home. Okay, so every single page is now inaccessible. So register is still there. So what you can do is, if you go to shared layout, now I need to try and remember how you do that. Login partial, user manager. Let's quickly see here. Raise it down here. I'm gonna say here at if sign in manager dot is signed in role, it's somewhere, user manager is in role async. Okay, don't know if I explain what async is. Now let's just do that. It's not role based. I'm being stupid. All you do is just move this into this up here. Okay, I'm gonna stop that. So I'm gonna put a hot swap on again. Okay, so now the register is gone. And you can do that for the menus as well. You'll just have to inject the user manager, but if you go to layout, I think you can do it here. And we inject the user manager, then we can, if you like, cannot be found. Okay, I think it's because, okay, sorry guys. Let's just create here underscore menu.cshtml. I'm going to, it's probably this. I'm gonna drop this in there, and then I am going to take out of the layout the menu, which is all of this, and I'm gonna say at await html.partial async, and you do underscore menu. Yeah, should work, I think. And then just in the menu we just add this. Okay, but what I want to do here is I want to say I do not want to, I want this. So you have to be signed in order to see the menu. That's technically what I'm getting to here. Okay, let's see if this works. So our menu is gone. Okay, so you have to log in now. The menus won't be shown if we logged in. Learn.trivial.com. Then our menus are there, and we can then register other users. Okay. Going to stop there for now. Yeah, and then I'll show one last thing after this video, which is a pattern called the repository pattern. And I'm going to show you how to take out the database specific things and move it into another layer. Just it's better to do it that way, but I'm going to show you next. Okay, so we have a pretty nice system going. There's a lot of things that's already working. What I want to show you now is just how you can apply a pattern called the repository pattern. So it's always good to try and separate your concerns of your different layers. So we have the MVC, which is nice. We have our controllers separated from our models, separated from our views, which is a good way of doing things. Okay. But what we would like to do further is we technically, and this is not really needed, I'm doing it very specifically now for my nephew, because this is a more difficult way of doing things, but it's needed. Okay, so what you have to do here is you need to try and move your data access layer into a separate layer, which is called the repository. And when we do this, we're also going to now see something I haven't talked about much, which is the dependency injection. I want to quickly show you what dependency injection is, and then we're going to use it a little bit now. So in here, we tell the builder that we add a DB context like that. And that gives us the ability, wherever we now use the DB context, you'll see we don't ever create it. We don't go and say, and a context equals new application DB context. We don't do that. All we do is in the constructor, so this is a constructor wherever the name is the same as the class, it's called a constructor. We add in the specific type that we have registered in programs, and we just assign it. And this instance of this will be injected into this controller. Okay, so let me show you. So we have our controllers, and we are now going to create a new top folder called repositories. And in repositories, I am going to create a body type repository. Now I also require another thing, which is going to be new for most of you, is an interface. So body type repository. I keep doing that. Go higher. We unfortunately now I had to recreate a thing, so everything is car hire 2. So I'm just going to continue doing car hire 2. And repositories. It's good to choose, controllers. It's good to choose a way of naming your stuff. So if you use plural for namespaces, then always use plural for namespaces. Like my classes will mostly be singular. I won't say body types. It'll always be body type singular. It's very good to stick to some patterns. It'll make your life easier when you write a lot of code. Okay, public class. So this is the interface. So it's not a class, it's an interface. Body type repository. Okay. Interface don't have access notation, which is like public and private. You only type in, not thinking if I should tell you this or not. Let me just do it the right way. It's going to take a bit longer, but let me just explain this. You're going to see I'm going to use a keyword called task, and I will in here, let's just quickly start by looking at, we want to return a list of body type model. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do here is say task list body type model, and we're going to say get body types. Okay. Don't know why I do that, sorry. It's not what I want to do. Okay, it's going to be a bit of a painful process, so stick with me if you can. Next up, we're going to do details, which will be singular. So we just want to return a task body type model, get body type. In here, we're going to do a body type index. Man, body type ID, sorry guys. So we basically create all the creds, create, read, update, delete. So we have the read, create will be task, probably also just a return of that. Insert body type, which will be the model, the body type model. We will need edit, so we can do that and just say update and delete, which will probably just be the index, the ID, primary key. Okay. Then in our, not our interface, so what is the interface quickly? The interface is a contract. And it basically you can have more than one class belong to an interface, inherit an interface. Yeah, a little bit difficult to explain in a short time. So maybe go and type in ChatGPT what an interface is. Let it explain it to you. But yeah, okay. Public class body type repository, and I'm then gonna type in the body type repository. Yeah, okay. Now what's quite nice is if you have it there and you click here, you can say implement interface and it will create everything for you, just the steps, so it's not really much. But you can go back to the body type controller now, and let's for instance take the index. So first of all, we need to add in the context the same way. And we have to add in, again, this is not really needed for everyone, but for big applications, you really want to do this. It will make your code a lot cleaner, and in the long run, you'll see that it will help you a lot. Okay, so we have the context, then we can literally take this code here, copy it out and paste it in. That is the get body types. Okay, not view. Okay, I'm not actually gonna do this. All I want is that. Okay, toolless async is, you'll see, is not found because that using is missing, and I'm not gonna put it in because it sometimes doesn't. Okay, just say yeah, using Microsoft Entity Framework Core. Okay, it's complaining still because, and I'm going to quickly try to explain as these methods needs to be decorated with the word async. Okay, if you write code and you do not have your methods be decorated with async and task, then what you are writing is what we call blocking code. Now, blocking code means that whenever a thread executes that code, it waits It waits for that code to be completed before it releases the thread. Now that's a little bit technical, but the thing that happens is if you don't use asynchronous code, you will find that you will be able to maybe run your application for 10 people. If you use asynchronous code, I don't know if I said it right now, then the benchmarks for .NET is about 2 million transactions per second. But you need to make sure that your threads don't get blocked. If they get blocked, then your CPU will just run out of threads so quickly, and you will not be able to really run very large applications. And it's a very easy thing to learn. It's basically every single method that you create. You'll see that Microsoft have a to list like that, and I also have a to list async. Anything with the async at the end means that it's asynchronous, and you have to await it. So if you're in an asynchronous method, you have to always await an asynchronous method. If I take that out, you see it's going to complain to me. Okay, if you go to ChatGPT and ask to explain to you how asynchronous non-blocking C#.NET code works, it'll probably try to explain it a bit better than what I can. Okay, so that's get body types. So what we're going to do now is we have our interface, we have our body. We're going to register this in programs. So I can say in here repositories, if you like, and you say builder dot services dot add transient, and then you say I body type repository and body type repository, and we just need to put a using in for that. Okay, so now transient, there's three ways of doing it. There's a transient, there's a scoped, and there's a singleton. Okay, so transient means that whenever you add this into a place where it will be injected, it will always create a new instance. Okay. If you say add scoped, what it will mean is from the time that you get to your controller, so for a call, a web call, from the beginning to the end, there will only be ever one instance created. Okay, but you need to know what you're doing. So it's very easy to have to reuse instances where you don't really want it. It's the safest thing to always just do add transient. But if you know what you're doing, you can do add scoped. It will save some resources. Add singleton is a pattern. It's used as singleton pattern, which means there's only ever one. This you don't really want to do unless you, like for instance, for this application, body type repository will probably not be used. It would probably be a safe thing to put as a singleton. But when the application starts up, that instance is created once and never again. But yeah, you need to look at things like thread safety, and it can become a bit complicated. If you're in doubt, just use add transient. Okay, so now we have that that service registered. So what we can do is in the controller, in the top here, we can say private read only I body type repository, and I just do an underscore, which is an old C++ way of doing things, but underscore just means it's a global variable for that class, and I'll just say body type. Okay. And then you guessed it, we're going to add this into the constructor. And you'll see there's already a squiggly here because it helps you and it tells you that you need to assign it. It's not assigned. And body type. And that's it. So now what will happen is when body type controller gets created, it will inject this repository into your class and you can just use it. So here we can try to refactor this a little bit. So I'll say underscore body type dot get body types. I need to do a wait. I don't know, that's a new thing that's now happening. Okay, await. So I'm just gonna delete this. Okay, I need to add it into a view. Every now and then, yeah, okay. It's complaining. Oh, yeah. Again, see, this is a new thing that's been added to Visual Studio Code. I don't know why it's happening, that it's overriding that. It's happened since yesterday. Okay, but then this is the line that you will call. So you return the view with whatever's returned from your repository. And now you have a repository pattern implemented for this index, and it's separated completely, which is, I think, really great. Okay. So you can, for instance, take out this. Let's quickly implement get body type. Body type model. So you can do a find async on the body type ID. And it's complaining about something again. Body type model is not null. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You have to tell it that it can be null, and then it's gonna tell you, but it's not matching the interface anymore. So you must just put a question mark there. Then it will go away. So because find async can return a question mark means a nullable, it can return a nullable, but that is all you need to return the instance of the body type. And then in here you can just say body type dot get body type ID. It's expecting a value, so we can go in here and say if ID is not equal null, else throw new exception, or rather say return not found. It's better. Okay. And you must so if something is nullable, you have to say dot value at the end. Okay. Still complaining about something here. Yeah, we forgot about the wait again. So, man, this thing is going to drive me insane. I type in await and then it kills the next word. Oh boy, well done, guys. Don't know what you've done there in this new version. That's awful. Okay, so that's 10 details. Okay, so next is the view. I'm just gonna take this out. I'm not very fond of these comments. Okay. Okay, then the next we'll do a create, and I think I'll only do this one. Then you guys can do the rest. So for create, there's two safety mechanisms in here. The one is that it binds body type ID and name, so that someone can't, what is that word? I forget the security thing now. It's when you inject code into a method, but I forget what it's called now. But it's just to protect this. The validate anti-forgery token is also another protection. What it means is that someone can't hijack your call in between from the time you receive it to the time it gets pushed back to the server, change the data and push it in, because there's a token that gets generated on the page called a anti-forgery token that needs to be present. So it's just another security mechanism. Again, go and add this onto ChatGPT, let it explain to you better than I can what it is about. Okay, so gonna take this out and quickly dump it in a repo for insert. It's actually better to do that. Well, so we just give the model, the body type a new GUID, GUID.new GUID, and we just need async here. Wow, this is really such a big problem that these guys have added to the application now. It is so frustrating to type in something, and when you press space, it deletes the next word. Oh my goodness. Okay, anyway. Okay. Yeah, I think we just want to say return body type model. Okay, so this is very simple. So we pass in a model already. We're just going to set the body type ID to a new GUID, and then we're just telling the context to save asynchronously the changes. And that's basically it. And we can just change this here as well, just for conformity. Oh, goodness. Sorry. Okay. Okay, and then in the controller, we can then say await underscore body type dot insert body type model. And that is it. So what it will do here is it will redirect to the action name of index, which is that index up there. Once we posted the create back, and then edit. Gonna do the same here. Overposting the tags, that's the right word that I couldn't get earlier. Overposting, which means that you just add more fields in there than you expect. And then we're gonna take this out. What I'm going to do is just take this whole thing here, and in the repo and the update, I'll paste in there. So it just does a body type update. Body type model exists. Some new stuff that they put in here that I don't know. I'm just gonna take us out now. It's actually a good thing, but I'm not gonna struggle with that now. I need to add async. I'm not gonna be able to program like that. This is not cool. Okay. Okay, that's pretty much it. Okay, controller, we'll then say, yeah, await, update, body type model. We also go back to index, And then lastly, I thought we're done. Lastly is delete. So it will be that. I can actually already put in a step, so okay. Guys, that's gonna drive me mad. Okay. And return. Okay. Yeah, it can be null. Okay. So then we basically now implement the repository pattern. So for you, it might be like, oh, why are you doing all this effort? But the next thing we're gonna do is to actually use store procedures instead of using entity framework, which is where we will end. But yeah, so basically we have now what's great about this is eventually one day you would want to maybe add an API for your application as well, and you can very easily then do that by just going in here saying I want the API folder here. I'm gonna say I have a body type API controller and space car hire 2.api. I say public class body type API controller and use a base controller for that. And you can say public async task. Let's say we're just going to return a body type model. Get body type with ID. And what's so great about it now is all you need to do is you just reference your repository again, so you don't have to copy. Oh, there's that thing again. Copy or duplicate the code. We never want to duplicate code. Whenever you see that you're duplicating code, then you are violating the dry rule. Do not repeat yourself rule. So we don't ever want to do that. Okay, base controller, actually controller base, the other way around. Come on. Sometimes it just does not want to. Cool. Using this. What was that now? MVC. Okay, and then you just in here can say return okay await underscore body type dot get body type ID, and you can say if ID is not equal null, do that, else return not found. Complain about something, that value. No, it's not that. yeah, sorry, this is not entirely right. I think it's I think it's I action result. Task. Ah, my goodness, I'm gonna die. Okay, that's how it looks. Okay, and then at the top here you need to decorate these things with API controller. Let's see. Yeah. Anyway, this is over and above. There is another attribute you need to add here, which I cannot remember what it is. But this pretty much is how you create an API. So now you can reference this with JSON. And when you call this, let's say HTTP get, then basically if you say body, how do you do that? I'm going to have to look in one of my other applications, which I don't like to do. Let me quickly look. Quickly look at one of my applications where I would have it. Yeah, so you need to add a route. Yeah, okay. So you add a route to API body type. Okay, and then basically you have a body type, an API for your body type. If you do API body type slash the ID, then you'll get the JSON back for that. I can quickly try, see if that'll work. So if you go to body types and I look at the details, it will give me the GUID at the back. Let's just do that. So if item reference API slash body type, not details. Okay, it didn't work. Yeah, body type. We can see if it actually hits it. Oh, I think it's again, your routing is important. You need to add in curly brackets any parameters in here. Then it's gonna return JSON fast. So then you have an API, and you can protect that API with authorization as well, which you should be doing. Authorize. Okay, cool. So yeah, I just wanted to show you why you would want to separate your concern with repository. It's so that you can then add maybe an API as well. So that's why we separate concerns. Okay, the last thing I want to do, which I am not 100% sure how you do that, but I'm gonna quickly ask. I don't really use anything outside of Entity Framework anymore, but it is a good way to use store procedures for big applications. So what I'm going to do is just close everything here. Close only. Excuse me. Let me C# code for ADO.NET. Using a store procedure, let's say coding calling a store procedure. Yeah, let's just do that, see what we get. Okay. Okay, I think that's enough help. Yeah, so this is ADO.NET, so you can use it just like this. I just want to see how can I use the DB context to call the procedure. Yeah. Okay, it's gonna be a little bit tricky. I haven't done this in a while. Okay. Let's quickly say that we want to now use a store procedure. Yeah, I think I'm gonna put it in here and let you figure it out. Let's say the procedure's name is get body type. This is okay, and we're gonna take this out. Okay. We need to inject, we do have to inject it. Yeah, these things have changed. I think. Okay. Okay, I think this needs to be obviously awaited. Oh, people, that's gonna drive me mad. Okay, let's have a look. How do you do this? So we have the string and then we have a cancellation token. Ugh. Okay, let's just quickly. Okay, I am again going to ask. See what it says. Okay, yeah, that's better actually. Yeah, okay. That is the right way of doing it. Okay, cool. So you see, if it can help you a little bit, ChatGPT. It's also really cool other things that you can try. I haven't tried it myself, but there's a GitHub Copilot, very popular, which will help you using AI. So while you type certain things, it will actually help you to do stuff. But yeah, you get used to doing things in a certain way. Okay, goodness gracious me, where did that now all go? There's some really bad formatting stuff going on here. Okay, we're losing code. Okay, so basically how this works is we call the get body type procedure. We pass in the parameter at body type. So if you write a store procedure, which I'm not going to write now, then this is how you will call it. So you call the store proc, and you say single or default async. Yeah, I would actually not do single, but rather say first or default async. Single, if it returns more than one, you will be in trouble. It will break. And then handle exceptions. Yeah. You need to handle exceptions properly, but yeah, I'm not going to do that now. Is this, yeah, so then you can just say return result, or even, yeah, result is fine. Okay, so that's how you do call a proc for, and you've seen how I've done it. I basically asked ChatGPT how to do it. Okay, and then let's, excuse me, try to do one for an insert. So, excuse me. Might be too complicated. Come on. Not that difficult. Okay, maybe that was too difficult. See if I can add a new chat. Now, write C# code using DB context to insert data using a stored procedure. Something like that. Okay, so does it look okay? Yeah, it does. Okay, I think this is right. Did we win? Yeah, we did. No, yeah. Anyway, it's fine. Okay. Let's see what we can get right here. So result will be the output, although it's not, yeah, for an insert that's fine. It's not what we wanted there. See if we can figure it out ourselves. So we're going to say context dot body type model procedure name. Yeah, so if we can do that. So we insert parameters. This thing has created something awful. Where's the parameters? Okay, I missed something here. Okay, let's just try this. Just actually gonna delete that. Body type model, execute. Yeah, I can't remember or don't really know because I don't ever use it. Okay, say database, database, execute. Okay, there must be a way of doing this. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I just told it that that method doesn't exist anymore. So I guess there's another way of doing it. It could be better to use ADO.NET to do this instead of what I'm doing here. Body type model. So insert body type, and it will be the right parameters which you'll need to just add in there. So this will be, for instance, body type ID. Goodness gracious me. ID, and this will be good.newgood. And the name parameter will be I don't know, Coupe 2, something like that. Sorry, no, I'm not thinking what I'm doing. It is body type model dot name, and it will be body type dot body type ID. That's what those two will be. Your store procedure will then probably be ID and name, depends on how you set it up, and then this will probably be swapped around. Okay, so yeah, this is one way of doing it. You'll have to then get, so if you say get body type with the body type we just need to set the ID because I don't think it will always come in there. Yeah, so you just have to afterwards get it. Oh goodness, that's gonna drive me insane. Yeah, fine. Okay, as you can see, doing things this way is a lot harder, but you can optimize performance this way. So I'm not saying that it's not a good way of doing it. ADO.NET is probably the better way of doing it, but it is even more hectic. So if I say in a new chat, just say write me C# code for ADO.NET, insert procedure. So what you then need to do is you'll create a new SQL connection with the connection string. So you can use your environment variable there. You open the connection. It's very, very, very important. They don't even do it here. It is very important to ensure that you close your connections. So if I, for instance, public async task, you don't even need to do async here, I think. Void insert body type. Then if you remember, I said you should rather have a environment variable there. So I would then suggest you do environment.get environment variable, whatever that is. So using what it basically do, it will destroy this specific connection. It's very important that if you go this route, that you must close your connections, because the database only have a certain amount of connections. And if you don't close, it's better to close whenever you do something, open and close. But both opening and closing of connections is expensive. So that is why I rely on Entity Framework, because it cache connections, have intelligence to do all of that. But again, I'm not saying that using ADO.NET is not a good way of doing it, but yeah, I'm not going to go too much deeper into this, but this is how you will use store procedures instead of using Entity Framework. So there's two ways. You can use Entity Framework and still call the specific SQL statements. Alternatively, you can use ADO.NET to do it this way. Yeah. And if you get stuck, just ask ChatGPT to help you with that. And that's pretty much it. So you've now seen how to do things the easy way, how to make it a little bit prettier, and then also how to implement the repository pattern, which I believe is really, really a good thing to do. And yeah, this is the framework of creating pretty much any application that you can think of. It's easy. It's used by enormous companies in the world. So it's very fast and highly reliable. So yeah, I hope you've learned something through this extremely long video, and good luck.